Well, in this next hand, we're gonna discuss the art of folding. Not something I do too often, but in this spot, it made a lot of sense. We're gonna look at an EPT hand from the Venetian between myself and one John Hennigan. Let's take a look. The blinds are 1 and 200 with an ante. So I've got king, queen offsuit, so I'm gonna go ahead and raise to 475. And John Hennigan is going to defend his big blind with 9-8 offsuit. It's a small raise, so he decides he wants to see a flop. So that's a great flop, as you can see, for John, because he's got a pair of 8s and he's got an open-ended straight flush draw. As for me, I've got 2 overcards and just the straight draw. So I can catch a 9 or an ace to make a straight, but obviously, as you can see by the percentages, John Hennigan is way in front here, a 3-1 favorite. Action's gonna be on him first, and he checks it on over to me. And the way he checked and the amount of time he took, something about it made me feel like, this is a flop that he very well might hit. So I decided to check behind for a couple reasons. One, I didn't think I was going to get away with a bet on the flop as a bluff. And 2, I want to give myself a free chance to catch my straight, because I can still catch that straight and take the, and have the best hand. So, well, there you go. What do you know? Now the turn card has given John 2 pair and an open and straight flush draw. That's a pretty big hand. However, he's well behind me because now I've got the straight. You see the percentage flip. He went from a 3-1 favorite. Now I'm at 70% to win the hand. Now he's obviously going to check here. So with 12.25 in the pot, the question for me is, what's the right bet size? I bet 1,000, which is a pretty good bet. It's about 80% of the pot. If he's going to draw to a club, I want to make sure that he pays a big price for it. And he does make the call. Now the river pairs the board. As you can see, John Hennigan has a full house, but I don't know that yet. Remember, you don't get to see the whole cards while you're playing live. So there's 32.25 in the pot, and action's on me after John's checked. Well, stop it right there for just a second. Now when John checks here, I figure there's a decent chance he might just have a queen for a straight, so he might call a bet. Now what I decided to do here was bet a big bet. There's 3,225 in the pot. I bet 3,500. What that does is it what's called polarizes my range, which means I either have a really big hand or I've got a bluff, okay? There's really no mediocre hands that I'm gonna make that bet with. Now the reason I do this is because I know that if John check raises me here, he's only gonna do that if he can beat a really good hand, right? Because if he's got a hand that beats a bluff, like just a queen, he's not gonna raise me. Why would he wanna do that? It looks like I have a big hand myself, so it makes it an easier decision for me if he does check raise to actually fold the hand. Let's see what he does. He obviously is gonna raise here. He's made his full house. He's got me to bet. And he's raised it up to 10-5. So I bet 3,500, he's raised me 7,000 more, and I have to figure, okay, like I said, my hand is pretty clear. It's either really strong or nothing. If he has any hand in between that area, he's gonna call. That's what he's gonna do. For him to raise, he's only gonna raise with completely nothing as a bluff or a really big hand. But we know he can never have completely nothing. It's not possible. Not with that board. 8, 9, 10 jack with 3 clubs, he's got something. We all know this. So for him to raise here, it's an absolute fold based on all the things that I've said. He cannot be bluffing based on my bet size and the whole thing. So the art of folding a lot of times comes into play when you're thinking about the right bet size. And in this case, I want to make sure I bet it in such a way that I wouldn't get bluffed. For example, had I only bet 1,400, he might have raised me 5,000 and I wouldn't know what to do. All right, I'll take a wild guess. Jack 9 of diamonds. Can't beat it. So essentially here, the art of folding was really defining my hand so that I could easily define his. With my bet size on the river, I knew that if he raised me, he was never gonna do it with any hand that he can call with, and he can never have nothing. So what does that tell you? He's got my straight beat.